There's a moment that happens quietly. You stop replying as fast. You skip a few invitations. You let a call ring instead of picking up. And for a while, it feels peaceful. The house is quiet. Your phone stops buzzing. No one is asking you for anything. But then something strange happens. You look around at all that peace, and it feels a little empty. Not calm. Just quiet. And that's when the real question shows up. What if protecting your peace doesn't mean removing people from your life? What if the real problem is something else entirely? Here's what most people don't talk about. Distance feels like relief at first. You avoid the argument. You stop responding to the drama. You step away from people who drain you. And the tension disappears. But here's what people miss. When you remove the tension, sometimes you also remove the connection. The spontaneous conversations. The unexpected laughter. The feeling that someone actually knows you. Psychologists call this a hidden trade-off. Avoidance reduces discomfort in the short term. But over time, it quietly increases isolation. And the strange thing? Most people don't notice it happening. Because it doesn't feel like loneliness at first. It just feels like peace. So here's the real question. How do you protect your peace? Without slowly pushing everyone away? Maybe the answer isn't about removing people. Maybe it's about changing how you interact with them. Here's the interesting part. Most emotional exhaustion doesn't come from people themselves. It comes from how quickly you react to them. Every message. Every opinion. Every small conflict. Your brain treats each one like an emergency. And after a while, that constant reaction becomes exhausting. But once you see that pattern, something shifts. Peace isn't built by controlling your environment. It's built by controlling your response. Here's the first shift, and it changes everything. Think about the last time your phone buzzed late at night. A message. A complaint. Someone venting about their day. Your brain immediately jumps in. You respond. You fix. You explain. You try to solve it. And suddenly your evening is no longer yours. Psychologists call this emotional reactivity. Your nervous system stays on high alert. Always responding. Always managing. But here's where it gets interesting. People who seem calm in chaotic environments aren't dealing with fewer problems. They just pause before reacting. A few seconds. Sometimes a few hours. And that small pause changes everything. Because peace often starts with one simple decision. You don't have to react immediately. Here's the second shift, and most people never notice it. You say no to something. But instead of leaving it there, you start explaining. You justify your decision. You soften the message. You make sure the other person understands. And suddenly, a simple boundary turns into a long conversation. Why does this happen? Because somewhere along the way, you learned that peace requires approval. If they understand your reason, they won't be upset. But here's what psychology actually shows. The more you explain yourself, the more you tie your peace to other people's reactions. Their approval becomes the final judge. And here's the quiet truth. Sometimes protecting your peace means letting your decision stand. Without a long explanation. Here's the third shift, and here's where it gets interesting. Have you ever left a conversation feeling strangely tired? Nothing dramatic happened. No argument. No conflict. But somehow your energy just disappeared. That's not your imagination. Psychologists call this emotional labor. It happens when you're constantly managing someone else's feelings. Listening carefully. Responding gently. Trying not to upset them. Over time, your brain starts carrying emotional weight that was never yours to hold. But here's the part most people miss. Peace doesn't always require ending the relationship. Sometimes it simply means recognizing the energy leak. And quietly adjusting how much of yourself you bring into that interaction. Here's the fourth shift. Most people believe there are only two options. You tolerate someone, or you cut them off completely. But real relationships rarely work that way. Here's what actually helps. Instead of changing the person, change your level of presence. You listen without absorbing everything. You respond without getting pulled into every emotional wave. Psychologists call this psychological distance. You stay kind. You stay present. But you stop carrying emotions that were never yours. And strangely, this small shift often protects your peace better than walking away entirely. Here's the fifth shift, and it's the one nobody talks about. Some of the strongest boundaries are invisible. They don't show up in your schedule. They don't appear in your messages. They happen inside your mind. Imagine someone criticizes you. For most people, that criticism stays for hours. They replay it, analyze it, defend against it. But emotionally regulated people do something different. They're brain filters. Psychologists call this cognitive filtering. Not every opinion deserves space in your mind. Some comments simply pass through. And once you realize that, you stop giving every voice the same power. And here's the sixth shift, the one that ties everything together. Relationships are messy. They include misunderstandings, awkward moments, occasional frustration. But modern advice often promises something unrealistic. That peace means eliminating every uncomfortable interaction. And that expectation creates constant disappointment. Because real human connection always includes a little friction. Here's what research consistently shows. Emotionally resilient people don't search for perfect relationships. They simply expect imperfection. And because of that, they aren't constantly drained by it. So maybe protecting your peace isn't about shrinking your world. Maybe it's about moving through it differently. Less reaction. Less emotional weight. Less pressure to control everything around you. The calm you're searching for doesn't come from having fewer people in your life. It comes from carrying fewer reactions that were never yours to hold. You're not responsible for every opinion, every mood, every emotional storm around you. And once you understand that, peace stops feeling like isolation. It starts feeling like freedom. Because some people try to control the world around them. But the people who truly protect their peace learn to control the space within them. Be honest. Are you protecting your peace right now? Or just making your world smaller?